Hey guys, laugh it off here. Again, tonight I am gonna try to do my first cooking video. We'll see if I can find a camera that will record long enough for me to make my famous sweet potato coconut curry stew. It's super tasty, and that's what I'm gonna bring to the potluck I have to go to tomorrow night. That way I have at least one healthy option that I know of. So yeah, bear with me. Okay, so I call this stew my dump stew, where I take every vegetable I have left over in the house to add to the stew, because it totally works that way. I've got some red peppers, broccoli, cilantro, lime, mushrooms, tofu, onion, light coconut milk, and veggie broth, as well as a couple of sweet potatoes. You can really add any vegetable you want. Oh, and Thai curry paste, you can't forget that. So you can really add whatever vegetable you want to this. It's so easy and so good. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is drain and strain my block of tofu. For this recipe, you can use chicken. I've done that before, but as I'm trying to go back to being a vegetarian, I'm going to use my tofu. So you want to drain and then press it. So you want to wrap it. I get these little towels from the dollar store. They're perfect for pressing tofu. And what I'll do is I'll put this between two cutting boards with a heavy plate or heavy pot or something on top to get all the liquid out. And you want to make sure you try to keep it in its regular shape so that you can get cubes of tofu and not crumbly little bits of tofu. Next thing I do before anything else is peel the sweet potatoes. I've just got 2 small sweet potatoes. 1 large sweet potato will work, or 3 super small sweet potatoes works just fine as well. Next, you want to cube your sweet potatoes into about a 1-inch cube each. Try to make them as even as possible, although I kind of like having some of the smaller bits so that you get a little bite of mushy sweet potato mid-soup. Once your sweet potato is all good and chopped, you can just set that aside for now and bring on your bell peppers and your onion, because that's the first thing that's going to go in your pot. Which, by the way, I am using my 5-quart Dutch oven. That was a Christmas gift. I could never ever afford one on my own. But, yeah, so you want to use a heavy pot for this dish because it's going to be cooking for a little while, and it also holds the heat, which melds the flavors a bit better for a bit longer. So now you're going to slice up your bell peppers. Usually I use different colors, but I only had red. And you're going to slice up your onion. Ouch. Potent onion. Woo. So once your onions and peppers are diced or sliced, deveined and sliced, you want to put them in your pot with about a tablespoon or 2. I usually just use about a tablespoon of your choice of oil. While I usually use coconut oil, I currently don't have any, so olive oil is going to have to do. And I shouldn't be able to taste the difference by the end if the curry is good. And this onion is certainly strong enough to kick its butt. Once your oil of choice is in the pot with the peppers and onion, go ahead and turn it on to a medium-high heat, and you're going to saute them until they start to soften a little bit. I usually do it for like 2 or 3 minutes. And at this stage, I add ginger. I don't have any fresh ginger, so I'm going to use, I don't know if you can see that. Well, you get it. I'm going to use some powdered ginger or ground ginger. And I like to add quite a bit because I think ginger is a great flavor to go with anything Thai. Okay, once your peppers and onions have been in the pot for a couple of minutes and have kind of started to really get aromatic and soften, you want to add your sweet potatoes and just mix those in, and then you're going to let those sit in the pot with the onions and peppers for about another 3 or 4 minutes. So next, when your potatoes and onions and peppers are happily sizzling, you want to start adding the liquids, and you're going to add a can of vegetable broth. Unfortunately, Swanson's the only one I had. I usually like to use an organic veggie broth. So about 2 cups, which equates to a whole can. And then you want to do light coconut milk, a can and a half. And you want to make sure that it is light coconut milk, because if it's not light coconut milk, the calorie intake on each serving of this soup changes pretty dramatically. Add a tablespoon or so of Thai red curry paste. I actually add more, and it's going to be really hard for me to do so while holding the camera, but I will do my best. I usually add more because I really like it, so I usually do about 2 spoonfuls, if I can even get it out. And then you just stir it up and let it come to a boil. Once this soup is at a delicious boil, yum, 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 you want to turn it down so that it'll simmer. So you want to turn it down and then cover it so it can simmer for 15 minutes. So next, while the pan is getting to a boil and then to a 15-minute simmer, I'm going to prep all the softer vegetables, like I said, mushrooms, broccoli, pineapple, and tofu. My mushrooms I like to halve and then cut into 3, so you get kind of a medium-sized chunk, so you can tell what it is you're eating, but it's not overpowering. And with the mushrooms, you want to cut them into small to medium little florets, and I use an entire head of broccoli. A lot of people just throw away the stems. I like to hold on to them. I don't know if they have any nutritional value, but I like to eat them like carrots. So I will munch on them with some hummus later or something like that. Pineapple I found I'm using only because it's in its natural juice. Otherwise I would only ever use fresh cut pineapple, just because they don't hold the same flavor and I don't want the added sugars of a sweetened sauce that it's in. So I'm going to prep these. So the tofu has been pressed for about 20 minutes and the towel is nice and wet and it comes out looking a bit smushed. That's okay. I'm just going to cube it and hope that it was pressed long enough. Again, like I said, with this recipe, if you want to cook it with chicken instead of tofu, a really good way to do that is to take the semi-frozen, oh, I lost a piece, the semi-frozen chicken, and you want to slice it while it's still slightly frozen, so you can slice it nice and thin. Then you want to use the extra half can of coconut milk and boil it with ginger and coconut milk. It makes it nice and soft, and then you can pull it apart and it gets this coconutty ginger flavor automatically cooked in. I like to save the juice of the pineapple, partially in case the soup needs a little bit more fluid at the end, and because it's, well, it's pineapple juice and yum. So you can usually get about a cup out of it. You want to make sure it's pretty well drained though. I didn't want to break apart, but it's a pretty big piece. So now I'm going to add my bowl of veggies, which are tofu, pineapple, mushrooms, and broccoli. Okay, so I just added them all, and it looks like a really giant heaping pile, as it should, because it's a stew. You want it to be pretty thick and well taken care of. So now I'm going to stir in all the soft foods. Usually here I would either add a little bit more Thai curry paste, or I personally like to add some sriracha sauce to the actual mixture, but because this is going to be for a potluck and I don't know everybody's spice level, I'm gonna just bring the bottle and serve that on top of each serving, which, by the way, the cilantro and lime that I bought, I will slice the lime tomorrow and I will dice the cilantro tomorrow and bring those, because you want to serve this soup in a bowl with lime, squeezed lime on top, chopped cilantro, and a little spiral of sriracha sauce, because yum. And I'm going to let this simmer for a little bit and let these softer vegetables cook. I'm probably just going to turn it down low and let it go for a bit. And then it's done. It's my favorite soup. It's my favorite homemade soup, and I'm a little bit sick, so I'm kind of making this one because this is also my go-to sick soup that always makes me feel better. So at the last second, I've decided to add noodles because it's coming out more of a soup, and I don't know if the host of the potluck will have bowls, so I'm just going to go ahead and add my Annie Chun's brown rice noodles. They're 100% whole grain, so it won't be too bad, and I'm only going to add about half what I would usually add. So I've just crunched them up on top of the stew, and I'm just going to stir them in, kind of crunch them as I do that, and then I'll put the top back on the stew and let these cook in. So this is what it looks like all finished. It's thickening up really, really nicely. Great thing about this is it makes heaps and heaps of servings, especially since it's like 1 or 2 cups per serving and only like 300 calories per serving. So it's really good for you, really filling, and really delicious. I'm not going to eat it right now, so I will post a picture from when I made it before of the finished product with the cilantro, lime, and sriracha sauce. But yeah, wish me luck tomorrow at the potluck, and let me know if you have any questions. I will link the recipe to my Facebook page down below. Thanks, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy.